let's do a color palette challenge. I'm kind of in the mood for something fun, maybe a little bit funky, maybe a little all over the place with some colors. So I picked out color card 433 out of the Color Cube Deck 2 by Sarah Renee Clark. And you know me, this is one of my favorite ways to create. Start off with a color palette and kind of a general idea of where I want to go, but not know exactly. And so I've just kind of pulled out some SoFlat paints. I feel like we're going to be in the SoFlat paints today in a color palette that's pretty close, but I can mix it on my paper as I'm going. And I almost feel like I want a yellow also. So I start off with an idea and then maybe expand upon it in different ways as I'm going. So I have just pulled out some SoFlats. I've got permanent yellow, titanium white, cadmium red dark, cobalt teal, cadmium orange, naphthol pink, fluorescent pink because I want to throw that in there somehow, possibly. I've got dark green, but this is a light green, so I'm just going to maybe mix this with white to get the lighter green because I don't have all the SoFlat colors, or maybe the SoFlats just don't come in as many colors. I don't know, but let's go ahead and maybe open these, and I'll try my best not to knock them over. Because let me tell you, I'm kind of the worst at that. And some of these need to be like mixed or shaken or something, because these do tend to like separate just like a can of paint. And these are very fluid, so they're easy to kind of shake. Ooh, look at that pink. And I'm just thinking maybe we'll do mixed media on top of here. I just want something cool and maybe crazy and abstract and scribbly and something kind of all over the place maybe. And so I might even start with something else to draw to get started. Okay, here we are, and here's our color palette that I'm kind of inspired by today. I want it to be fun. It's like the inside of a hot air balloon. Love that. So we're going to set that to the side, and we're going to maybe start with, where is my pencil? I need a pencil. Kind of want, okay, I'm just going to pick another pencil because I see my pencil way over there on the other table, and I have multiple pencils, so it doesn't really matter. Let's see what we got. This is my Faber Castell 6B. And this is a 9x9 sheet of the Hanamule paper, because I've decided it's one of my favorite to work on, and I just cut 3 inches off the bottom to make it square because I got some yummy 8x8 frames, and this could be, you know, possibly for a frame if I end up loving it enough. And so just getting it started there with some mark making. And then we could also do like some Neocolor 2 crayons. I like those because they're water soluble, and that might then add to the yummy chaos of our piece. So I'm just going to pull some colors of those. Oh yeah, this one right here, I feel like it's right in there with this color here. So we're just gonna go for it and play and scribble today. And we'll just see where we end up. And we could move some of this color around with some water. We don't have to leave it on there like it is. Let's see, I got a little bit darker orange. Oh yeah, see that right there is this color here. Loving it. You know, and I'm starting this with kind of an idea in my mind, but not necessarily any particular thing. Ooh, let's go with this. This looks like that green. No particular direction that I'm actually going to end up. We're just going to be surprised together. And let's see, we got that one blue in there. Let's get some blue here. Is this the, yeah, that's very cool. Maybe it's this color blue. Ooh, let's use this one. Don't ask me what all these colors are. Oh, this is a turquoise. Look at that. Oh, now this is definitely the moment that we're bringing out our inner 3-year-old, and this is the thing that I would then present to my mother and be like, look at what I made today. And we may not see any of this when we're done. It is definitely a way to kind of get rid of your paralysis of looking at a blank page. Okay, so let's just get started here. Let's just throw some color down. So I'm just using, this is my Princeton Select number 8 flat shader. And because those Neocolor 2 crayons are water soluble, we have the chance of reactivating them and then them becoming part of the color story. So that's pretty cool too. So if you didn't know those were water soluble, they were water soluble. And we could come in here with some pattern. We don't have to paint solid color here. And I'm thinking maybe some of this white with some of this Naphthol pink. And I could get a little painting palette out if I need to mix colors up, but you can just kind of mix them right here on the palette too and just see what we end up with. I'm not trying to go anywhere specific, and just playing with some new techniques here on our pad of paper. I'm not real precious about my paints, so if I get a little bit of paint into my white, I'm okay with that. I can just dip it back out. Not a big deal. If you're really precious about your paints, put some paint down on your paper and then do it from there. If you don't care, just go for it. Alright, so orange and blue make mud, which I knew that. Orange and blue together are going to make a brown. So that probably, even though I was thinking, ooh, I want to add this blue, that was not a wise choice to go right in with the orange. How fun is that? Just the things you discover and then remember as you are putting paint down. And we can get in here with our finger too if you feel like you're not getting in there. We could use a bigger brush. We can just get real creative here with the things that we're putting on. And then don't get discouraged at this point because, a lot of the painting that I do is all about the layers. And if it's not good enough yet, you don't have enough layers yet. Which, I just did that Gustav Klimt class, and it's really fascinating, all the layers in his paint. Look at that! All the colors in his paintings are so fascinating because it's many, many, many layers. And you just don't think a lot of times of doing all those layers. As you're working, you get stuck and you're like, what else should I do? I don't know where else to go. I feel stuck. And, the thing about doing studies of others' paintings is you kind of see interesting things that maybe you would never have seen before or thought of. And you're like, oh, what if I did this or that? Like, what would happen if I did X, Y, Z? That's what I like about studying others and really jumping in with your art practice to see, like, where can you go if you tried something different and stepped outside your box for that day. Now I'm just playing. I'm drawing some shapes. The paint's not dry underneath it. That's fine. I'm just mixing some stuff in and just kind of going where the mood strikes me. Nothing specific here. Just some play. And I might come back when these are dry and do another layer on top of that. But this is a very Klimt-like pattern that I just started. He does the kind of flowery circle on circle kind of motifs. And we just kind of got that started here with our little circle on circle motifs. And I kind of like that I just naturally stuck this in without a whole lot of deliberate thought. I just kind of like, ooh. So, you know, as you're doing like studies of the masters, sometimes that stuff is going to sneak into your artwork subconsciously. Like you didn't even have to think too hard and it just like appeared. I'm kind of digging that. I'm kind of excited that that work that I did is just subconsciously sitting in there. Alright, so I may come back on top of that when it's dry and make it more vivid, but oh, look at what I did. I like it. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking maybe some yummy Caran Neocolor 2 Pastels by Caran Dash. We could come in and do some extra. I'm having trouble making words today as I'm painting. I can do some extra mark making and pushing this stuff around. That's kind of my purpose here with some of this. And of course, a lot of this paint is still wet, so we might just dry it. Let's just dry this paint. Okay, real crazy here as I was drying it. Look what I'm kind of seeing. I don't know if you see this too, but we just might make this an abstract flower thing because I feel like here's a vase. Here's some flowers that we started and we should finish the flowers over here. And this could be, you know, abstract flower vase thing. So let's just go with that thought. Totally was not where I was thinking, but definitely somewhere I don't mind ending up. Ho, 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 ho. Abstract flower vase it is, because I feel it now. I can see the vase. You see that vase right there? Now I feel like we need to like make the vase even less with that, whatever that yellow was. Okay, I'm kind of feeling that. Okay, that totally, as I was drying it, I could just see it. I hope you could see that too, because these look like abstract kind of rose shapes, which he did in his paintings quite a bit. There's clusters of rose flowers, kind of things that are doing some funky shapes, and that's what I love about his stuff. Alright, I'm loving that. We might come back on with more color, but let's go ahead and dry that now. I feel like it's the flowers. Alright, now we've got that started. I kind of want more color coming out, so I don't know if I want to do that with the Neocolor crayons. Maybe we want to do that with the crayons. Let's kind of, still got some wet paint there. You see when the paint dries how the crayon sits on top instead of mixes with the paint? That's what I'm wanting. And I like this whole kind of scribble aspect in the background. And now I'm just adding other colors. Still within my color palette, but maybe shades and tints of the colors even. I'm okay with that. Definitely feel like a scribble mood today. Roar! And it's okay if we don't end up with wherever we were kind of expecting. Ooh, you know what I could do? Or, okay, got some more feel good about the scribble. It's kind of what I wanted in the background, and at the same time we could come back and then we could push it back a little bit with some paint maybe, possibly. Can get in there with our fingers. Maybe I didn't want to push it that far back. Let's pick some up with some tissue. Ooh, ha ha! There we go. That's what I'm feeling. So push and pull. That's kind of where we're going there with that. Push some back, pull some forward. I don't know. I kind of liked it with the scribble. I like the flowers. I want them to stand out a little better. So, kind of thinking, maybe we could do that with, this is my Castell round number 4 brush. Maybe though, let's just see, is it going to do what I want it to do? Oh yeah, here we go, okay. Mostly. Maybe I want it fatter than that. Okay, I want it fatter than that. Let's just keep the brush we had. Got to do some experimenting to figure these things out. Oh yeah, I like that. Mix with the white. Ooh, look at that. Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. Just get all of our little circles and then we'll come back with some yummy color on there. So I'm just doing random sized circle oval things for our flowers. And then I'm going to add on top of that to make it look like, you know, fun little rose bouquet. Maybe come back with some white. Could make the center of it dark if I wanted to. If I needed a dark center in that, I could come back and do that. It's just play and experiment. There's no wrong way to do your paintings. It's play. You might discover a new style that you're like, ooh, let's explore this and do a series. Alright, those are super fun. And there's some kind of color right here that's just hanging out super bright, almost drawing the eye in a way that we didn't want it to. So let's just tone that down with some color here. Now I'm kind of thinking, come back in with some of this red as a secondary color in these. While they're still wet, I'm still adding these colors and layers on top of the wet stuff. So I'm not letting these dry in between my random shape creations. Now I'm almost thinking maybe we want some orange. Just layering these colors in there so that when you look at it from a distance, it's a little different than when you get up close and you're like, ooh, look at all that going on in there. It's what gives it interest to me. So I could, now that I'm thinking about it, I could come in here and throw some flowers. Flowers. These are flowers. Throw some leaves. Like, you know, the leaves on a flower bouquet. Throw some of those in there. Just no specific shape. Just maybe like a little odd shaped here and there. And then, you know, you've got your little rose leaves from the roses. Okay, I like that. Now, kind of thinking, what am I thinking? What are you thinking? You're thinking this lady went nuts, right? That's okay. Kind of wondering, what if I did like a, how can we pull this background in is kind of where I'm thinking. How can I pull that together and be done with like what we've got going on there? You know, what we could also do is dry the roses and throw some other texture in the roses. I'm going to dry these and I'll be back. Alright, this is dry and I'm kind of feeling like I want to bring in a little bit of what I've got going on in the background into my roses so that they're not so completely different than, say, all of this scribble mark that I've done back here, that they fit into the overall idea of what I had going on. So it's not like two different paintings on top of each other. It's more like the background and the front of the same painting, basically. So maybe if we come in here with the Neocolor 2 crayons and then do some of the flower markings similar to the scribble I've done in the background, then we've not totally alienated the front from the back, basically. And now that I've just kind of come in here and done that, I'm already feeling better about it, because it was a little disconnected. This was real choppy, this was real smooth comparatively with the paint versus all of the scribble. And I'm just kind of feeling like, how could we pull that better together? And I think doing this extra scribble mark on your flowers is how we're gonna maybe pull that forward better. And I could even do that in the green, which I feel like I'm still channeling my inner Klimt with the pattern on the pattern on the pattern, because nothing in his paintings is one layer. There's not just a color there and then leave that color alone. There's that color and then there's pattern or texture on that color or design. And that right there already made me feel better about the leaves. Okay, I'm feeling good about this now. I don't know if the little white will show up on top of, oh yes it will. Yes it will, yes it will. Ooh. Because I could have done that with paint, but look at there, I am getting that on top. Alright, now I'm kind of feeling, and I'm feeling like abstract wise that we're pulling all of our different elements together better. This is not at all what I had in my mind that I was going to create today. So sometimes just ride the wave wherever you end up and don't be upset about it. I used to sit here at my table. I pulled up a Facebook memory from 13 years ago, almost to the day of like just a couple days ago. And it popped up saying, you know, maybe I've just rediscovered I hate to paint. And I should just stick to photography because I know I'm good at the photography. And now I chuckle because that was me being really pissed off at my table trying to sit and paint some masterpiece, I'm sure. Like if I had started off in painting with the idea that I had in my mind and ended up, say, here instead, I would have been kind of angry about that. Like, why could I not paint what it was that I was thinking? And I was so mad that I posted on Facebook that I just shouldn't even paint. I shouldn't even try. And you know, I have an aunt who is a painter and she paints the most amazing things. And I've always admired her talent for painting, but it's a completely different style of painting that I do. She does landscapes and folk art kind of work, and now I'm wondering if I blend some of this in to more painterly look, what we'll get. Anyway, she's more of a traditional painter with subjects, and she does colored pencil paintings of the birds on the stumps out in her garden and just interesting different stuff like that. And I don't like to really paint traditionally things that you can recognize. I mean, you can recognize maybe that this is a flower bouquet now that we did this, but it didn't start out that way and it wasn't the direction that I was kind of headed. And I kind of wonder sometimes, you know, why didn't I get that talent? Why couldn't I paint stuff that looked like real things? And, you know, the further I get, the older I get, the more I realize that we're not all meant to do the same thing. And that's okay if people in your family are talented in ways that are different than the ways that you're talented. And, you know, I'm sure that plenty of people look at the stuff that I do and think, why can't I do that? And I don't take that into account. Don't discount the stuff that you're called to create. It's just different. We're all different artists, and it's okay. And, you know, I'm like 50 now, so it took me a long time to make peace with that, because 13 years ago I would have been in my late 30s and I was angry at my art table. So, and I've been doing art since I was a kid, and I did, you know, interior design and drafting for years and years and years, and I've always been in the creative field, and it's taken me half a century to make peace with some of these concepts that, oh, it's okay that my talent is not exactly the same as somebody else. And I need to kind of just follow my creative muse where it leads me. And today it led me down a path I totally did not expect. And I used to not have the freedom of being okay with where we ended up. And here's where we ended up today. And I need to be like, look at where we got today and get excited about it rather than getting upset about it. So I'm kind of feeling like I'm still not super happy with the background. I tried to push it back a little bit, but was it successful? I don't know. You might look at it and say absolutely not. This might be one of those where, you know, maybe you set it to the side for a while and you think about it. I'm looking at it thinking maybe it's time to pull out more pattern here in the background, and then I think I'll be happy with it. So to do that, I want to dry it. Hopefully that's dry. I'm going to pull these Polychromos pencils back out because one of the Klimt's paintings that we just did in that class had a textured background in the gardens that was really cool. And then I think that kind of technique might pull this together for me. And it's basically just lots of layers of like grassy texture basically. So these are those Polychromos pencils. Could have done this with like a pastel, that would have been nice. Alright, I'm kind of feeling that. I like that texture a little better than what I had going before. So let's just do that on the rest of that. Alright, that's looking pretty cool, and I kind of feel like I'm there. So, what do you think? Anything else that you would add? We could add some white dots, and we could just kind of continue playing all day, really. You could just keep on going, but I feel like I'm there, and I want to peel the tape and see where we ended up. Definitely not how I thought we were going, but I do think that we stuck to our color palette really good, and I feel like I have an abstract flower vase now. So let's just peel it and see what we think. And you could always go back and continue to work on your piece even after you peel the tape, but sometimes it's fun to stop and evaluate what you did and where you ended up. And if you've got like a weird color that's pulling the eye somewhere, then you know where you can go back and touch it up. Like I'm kind of wondering if that hot pink in the corner is going to pull my eye. Oh, no, nope, it was just on the tape. There we go. Check it out. Look where we ended up with today. That is not at all where I was going. It's not like the work that I normally do. You just see me all over the place because that's just fun, abstract work that I just followed where the inspiration and direction led me. But I'm kind of loving this. I might sign this one and put it in one of my gold frames and hang it. That's a pretty piece. All right, I hope you enjoyed painting with me today, exploring a new color palette, painting a little outside of what we normally might paint, as I was inspired by the flower clusters on Gustav Klimt's paintings. And I love where we ended up. So I hope you had fun today, and I'll see you next time.